Hello, hello, hello. How are we doing today? My name is SpectrumDominus, and I will be your game tender this afternoon. And today we are doing the 2017 WWE Fastlane predictions. We're going to predict how it's literally 24 hours before the pre-show starts, and we're going to predict how the Fastlane pay-per-view shakes up as we head into Wresltlemania next month. As always, I'm using the Wikipedia list. I find that the Wikipedia list tends to be correct. It has everything that's been announced, and then randomly we'll have another match or two that we did not know about, especially the pre-show matches when they don't announce the pre-show matches. Somehow, the Wikipedia page almost always has a pre-show match laid out as well. So we'll predict that as well. Just so you know, if you're watching for the first time, we are filming this live. I am on my Twitch stream at www.twitch.tv/SpectrumDominus. You can find that below in the comments. And I have all my viewers watching live and asking questions as we go along. You can always join us. We do all the prediction shows. We do our own wrestling, complete wrestling themed streams where we run our own wrestling tournament on WWE 2K17 and a whole bunch of other video games as well. So come and hang out with us for some of these live streams. They're a lot of fun. As far as Fastlane goes, I'm going to read through the list. I don't have a lot of pre-thoughts as I don't even know all the matches. I've watched everything up to this point, but that doesn't mean I could lay out a list. When I read a match, I'm sure I'm going to remember, but this isn't like WrestleMania where everything's going to be, that it's going to be Wyatt, Orton, Roman, Undertaker, and you can list it out because they're all big matches. There's a bunch of little matches in this that I'm going to kind of forget until I read it on the list. So, as I read it, I will go through each match. So, starting with the pre-show match, it looks like it is a tag team cruiserweight match. Rich Swann and Akira Tozawa versus the Brian Kendrick and Noam Dar with Alicia Fox. This seems pretty easy to me. I think that Swann and Tozawa should take this no problem. Kendrick probably won't end up taking the loss. I feel like Dar has become kind of one of the jobbers of the federation, of the division, I should say. They give him enough matches over smaller jobbers to keep him relevant, but for the most part, he doesn't win much. I think that he's on the team here because Vince loves how he says the word Fox and makes it sound like fucks. So Vince likes him, so he's getting exposure, but for the most part, he's the lowest of the important tier. And Swann and especially Akira Tozawa are guys that are in the push department. So I think Swann and Tozawa win this pretty easily. I'm sure they'll make it look competitive, but there's no real fear of the heel team winning this match, I don't think. The next thing it has listed is Sami Zayn versus Samoa Joe. I feel like anything but a Samoa Joe win here is a humongous mistake. I do not believe they have Joe lose in his first battle. It's not his first fight. He has fought a match before. Did not lose that. If he's not going to lose to Roman Reigns, then he's not going to lose to Sami Zayn even on pay-per-view. This is his first battle in the sense of there is a build-up and a win rather than we're going to throw you guys together on the show. So Samoa Joe should win this. I feel like it's going to be a semi-dominant match. Sami Zayn is so over that, and we've seen it. We've seen it since he's come up to Raw, since the draft. He can lose. He's like Enzo and Kaz. They can lose matches and still be over. So a loss doesn't ever really hurt Sami. And because of that, he'll take this loss pretty easy. I think that they need to start getting Sami some wins in the near future. I think that he's probably someone they plan after WrestleMania to start the push with. We'll see how that plays out. I don't think that he ever gets... Not that he doesn't ever get main event, but I don't think he gets main event within the next year. I think that we could see him as a U.S. champion within the next 4 months. So we'll see how that plays out. Next one is a women's match, not the one for the title, the Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax. Now this is interesting in the sense that all the rumors have Sasha Banks going heel sometime in the near future, potentially before WrestleMania. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if she's going to involve herself in the Bayley match and cause Bayley to lose the title, which sets up the Fatal 4-Way at WrestleMania. I'm not sure how it goes down. So because of that, because you got to look at it as the match for WrestleMania is most likely a 4 corners match between Bayley, Charlotte, Sasha, and Nia. All 4 ladies are going to be in the match. I think that from that perspective, and that this is the last match, last chance to be pay-per-view to build that. Now, obviously, we have 4 weeks of Raw. I believe it's 4 weeks to still build the storyline. But they're going to start want to start building it here. Now, the problem is if you turn Sasha heel here, then you have 3 heels and a face, and it's hard to build that storyline. 3 heels and a face. There's no one to team with Bayley going in. So, in theory, one of the ways it could play out is Nia beats Sasha, but Sasha involves herself and screws Bayley. Now Bayley gets Sasha, but Charlotte Charlotte wins and Bayley gets a rematch. So you can build from that storyline, but I don't like how that shakes down. Also, it kind of makes Sasha look weak, having Nia already squashed her. I think that we're going to see it more of... that is building more storyline. That's what I tend to like. I like the more storyline. So it's like if they do this, and then they do this, and then they do this, and it's 2 layered. And WWE doesn't seem to do that anymore. I think this is going to be Sasha sneaks a win against Nia Jax, rolls her up, or the turnbuckle is taken off and Nia hits her on the turnbuckle. Something quick win. No Sasha gets her in the bank statement and Nia taps out, or Sasha, I think it's going to be a quick, like Baron Corbin, like he stole a win and he's still able to stand up and fight right after it. But Sasha steals a win from Nia. And then in the Charlotte-Bayley match for the Raw Championship, which is the next one listed, I think that Charlotte wins this match. Now, it is possible that they find a way to have her win it and keep the belt on Bayley just because they don't want to transfer it so much. They could have Charlotte, win by disqualification. Nia Jax comes down and hits Bayley, so Sasha Banks comes down and hits Charlotte, so Charlotte wins by disqualification, but Bayley keeps the title. But to be honest with you, it just works better if Charlotte takes the title back and goes into WrestleMania as the heel with the belt. So I believe Charlotte wins this match, takes the title back. Now, a lot of people are not going to like to hear that because no one really wants the title to change hands that much. It's already changed hands, I believe 4 times this year, maybe 5. And that in 2017, I don't mean in the last 365 days. In 2017, it's already changed hands, I think 4, if not 5 times. And if Charlotte wins it here, and then someone else wins it at WrestleMania, it's just going to be an absurd number of title changes. It's gotten to the point where I have defended the title changing hands as often as it had when it was just Sasha, Charlotte. But now that we're including a Bayley in there as well, and then potentially Nia at WrestleMania, it's definitely getting to the point where we're going to weaken the belt a little. So I do think Charlotte wins it here, but if Charlotte wins it here, she may retain at WrestleMania. That's a whole nother story. We're not going to discuss WrestleMania, but I don't think that she loses her pay-per-view wrestling win streak until WrestleMania if she's going to lose. I don't see her losing it here. So Charlotte wins, takes the belt, and goes into WrestleMania as the champion. Although, knowing WWE, she takes the belt and then loses it on Raw to someone else, and then they go in as a champion. Well, that's just what they've been doing lately, and that's ridiculous. So that's where we're at for that. The next match they have is the Luke Gallows and Carlos Anderson. To me, the club who are the champions, defending their title against Enzo Amore and Big Cass. I do not see again this situation, and honestly, most situations right now, most titles, both Raw and SmackDown, have been turned over way too much over the last 4 months. Where are we? We're in March. 3 months. The last 3 months, 3 to 4 months, whether it be the Women's Championship on Raw, the Tag Team Championship on Raw went from New Day to Sheamus and Cesaro to the club in like after over a year of no one having it. It's changed twice like that. Even if you go with the the Universal belt is about to go to theoretically to Goldberg and then Lesnar at WrestleMania. That seems to be too many changes. The WWE Championship going from AJ to Cena to Wyatt and then potentially to Randy Orton at WrestleMania. That's a lot of changes. The women's belt, now granted, Bliss had it for a while and then lost it to Naomi and then got it back because of injury. But still, a lot of changes. I feel like they need to get some of these belts some length under the champions. And I think Anderson and Gallows may be the way to go. They just won it from Sheamus and Cesaro. Let them hold that belt up to and potentially through WrestleMania. Like I said earlier when we were talking about Sami Zayn, Enzo and Cass can take a loss here. You pin Enzo Amore. It does not hurt Enzo and Cass in any way. They're still majorly over. And you could real easily get them back in the title picture with a win on Raw over the next couple weeks. So Gallows and Anderson, the club have to win that. Now, one thing I will say is I'm starting to feel the tension between Enzo and Cass. Like, Cass is getting a little annoyed with Enzo. Sometimes it's about when he's talking and Cass has to say, like, there was a segment on Raw when he was all about winning the titles and Cass was like, you already have us celebrating with the titles. We've never won an NXT championship together. We've never done anything successful together. They're champions all around the world, and we're not winners. I'm starting to feel that tension, and considering we know that Vince loves Big Cass as a singles guy, that might be I feel like this is early, but if they wanted Cass, if he wanted Cass to go heel, there's no reason why they couldn't go Enzo loses, Cass gets upset, Cass turn on Enzo versus Cass at WrestleMania. That is my type of writing. That is what I would do for something if Vince is ready for that. The tag team division's weak, so I don't think it's time. But I already see the seeds dropping, so we are going to get something along those lines in the near future, in my opinion. So we'll see how that plays out. The next match they have is Neville versus Gallagher for the Cruiserweight Championship. This is just someone to feed Neville. I mean, we all like Gallagher. He's entertaining to watch in the ring. He's entertaining to watch on the mic. Overall, I'm not saying he's never going to be a Cruiserweight champion. There's a potential for him never being a Cruiserweight champion. I feel like, and I've discussed this on my stream, I feel like the Cruiserweight belt is going to remain with the big names. What's going to happen is Neville's going to win it here and keep it. And then somewhere coming up, whether it be WrestleMania or shortly thereafter, Austin Aries will return to the division and will return from injury, enter the division, and take the belt from Neville. We've already seen a promo package that Aries is coming to the Cruiserweight division. And then Aries will have it. Much bigger name, more well-known. Aries has it. And then, 3 or 4 months down the line, someone else will come up. Someone that we know the name. I don't really have anyone laid out, but it's going to be that. They're going to keep giving, even if it's just Kalisto has decided to enter the division. However they want to do it, they're going to keep it on WWE and bigger name stars like Aries, Neville, Kalisto. I don't see much of the Rich Swann, Cedric Alexander, Jack Gallagher's getting this belt for the most part at all, if so, for very short title reigns. So this is just a feed Neville until WrestleMania. I predicted 3 months ago it was going to be Neville versus Aries at WrestleMania for the Cruiserweight Championship. 3 months might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but it was quite a while back that Neville's would lose the title to Aries at WrestleMania is what I said, and it's kind of laying out like that's still potentially a thing. So I'm going to stick by that prediction. Neville wins pretty handily over Gallagher here. Then the final two matches, for me, these are the only two matches of the pay-per-view. Everything else was filler. It was like they have two matches and then a bunch of filler at this pay-per-view. Now, don't get me wrong, it's kind of disrespectful to say that the Tag Team Championship match and the Women's Championship match is filler. But with the number of, like I said, the number of times the titles are changing hands, and how often and how little build-up are presented in the Tag Team Championship match, and even though the Women's Championship match has a lot of build-up, it just doesn't seem like to be the right kind of build-up. I'm not sure that many people really care that Bayley. We cared Charlotte and Sasha. They fought a number of times, and yet we still wanted to see it. Now, people started to groan towards the end of it, but for the most part, people wanted that to keep going. It was so good. And not that Bayley and Charlotte aren't wrestling good matches. The matches are entertaining and well done. But the build-up from the character perspective just doesn't... I don't think we really want to see the crying Bayley, I finally did it, I've been a fan since I was 3, and yes, I'm exaggerating again, but I just don't think it's caught the audience as well as the Sasha-Charlotte build-up did. So it kind of comes off as filler. So the last two matches, first one is Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. Now, I hate to say this, and anyone who watches my stream knows that I am a Roman Reigns fan. I don't blame the guy for the writing that has been given to him. I don't blame him because Vince McMahon likes him and requires him to win when he's told to win. I think that he is an entertainer in the ring. I find his wrestling matches entertaining. I find that when he's given a mic and is not told to do stupid stuff like suckering succotash, it's enjoyable enough. I don't hate on Roman Reigns, but Braun Strowman's build has been so great to this point, and we've seen that he can put on a good match. Hell, anyone who watched Big Show versus Braun Strowman in the main event of Raw 2 weeks ago has seen how far Strowman has come over the time. I want Strowman to win this match. And if Strowman has to win this match by an Undertaker interference, then so be it. In my world, Undertaker should come out and cost Roman the match. And if that's what happens, but I'm afraid that Roman is going to get his win over Strowman here, finally giving Strowman a loss, and Roman going on Raw, essentially saying he's the best for beating Strowman or something, and we're not even going to see Undertaker until Raw. That's what I'm afraid of. There was rumblings a little while back of a Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, Undertaker triple threat. I think that would be a massive mistake, and I do not think they will make that mistake. I think Strowman's more set for something along the lines of winning the Andre the Giant Battle Royal or getting someone to squash to help keep him strong at WrestleMania. When I make my final prediction, put my money down on something, I'm going to say Roman's going to win this match. He may not win it by pinfall. It may be Superman punches Strowman. Strowman falls out of the ring, gets counted out, something like that. But I see Roman winning this match. Then the final match is Owens versus Goldberg. Now here's the thing about this match. This is for the Universal Championship. This is a humongous match in the sense of the winner of this match is essentially main eventing WrestleMania. And there's a lot to be said about that. There's a lot to think of. First of all, you have Kevin. We already know the two matches. It's going to be Goldberg-Lesnar and Owens-Jericho. Those are WrestleMania matches. No matter how much you want to throw in Finn Balor in the match with Owens, and how many times you want to say, well, we can do this or they can. It is going to be Goldberg-Lesnar, Owens-Jericho. That is clear cut. So then you say, well, if the belt is with Owens, then the U.S. belt is not being used. Well, I don't know how often you guys sit down and make the WrestleMania list, but we've done that on stream, and there's something along the lines of 16 matches for WrestleMania. And these are like realistic, should-be matches for WrestleMania. Not all of them can happen. Even with the pre-show, if you go 4 hours and 2 hours of pre-show where you have 3 pre-show matches, there's just not enough time for all these matches to happen. And because of that, I'm sitting here saying there is no need for a U.S. Championship match. If Owens keeps the title and they fight for the Universal title and the U.S. title is not defended, it does not matter, because with 2 shows and a Universal title and a WWE title and an Intercontinental title and only one of the tag team titles being defended because you can't afford to, you don't have the time for both, and both women's titles being defended and a Cruiserweight Championship being, you don't need the US belt to be defended. So from that standpoint, Owens could keep the belt. You could also argue that Goldberg-Lesnar does not need the belt. I completely understand those mindsets and those thought processes people have to try to keep the belt on Owens here. Most people are saying Jericho's going to come out, screw Owens, and that's why Goldberg wins the belt. And that's probably what is actually going to happen. That's what I can see happening. Here's my problem with that from a storyline perspective. From kayfabe. I'm Jericho. Owens is fighting Goldberg. I'm going to be fighting Owens at WrestleMania. Now, that has not been signed yet, so there's some leeway between he didn't know he was going to have Jericho, and by doing this, he guaranteed that he got, Owens. He does this to guarantee he gets Owens. But for the most part, we're aware that Jericho's going to get Owens at WrestleMania. Why would Jericho come out, screw Owens out of the title so that he can fight Owens and defend his Universal U.S. Championship when he could let it be? Goldberg wins that match. Everyone knows Goldberg wins that match. And then Jericho gets to fight for the Universal belt instead. It doesn't make much sense from a kayfabe perspective. They're going to have to, if they want it to make sense in storyline, have to have Goldberg look like he's going to lose. Like Owens... No, even then, it doesn't make sense. It'd have to... There's no world where Jericho wants Owens to not have the belt. So that doesn't make sense kayfabe. And I'm afraid they're going to just forget about that. We've seen it a million times in the past. Jericho's going to cost Owens the belt. Now they fight at WrestleMania. And now not only does Jericho not go for the Universal belt because of that, but now he has to put up his own U.S. belt. It's just bad strategy. On the flip side, it works the same from Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar comes out and costs Goldberg the belt, and Owens keeps it. Well, now Brock fights Goldberg, and the belt's not on the line. It almost makes sense for Brock to come out, F5 Kevin Owens, say, go ahead and pin him, Goldberg. I already have a contract for you. Boom. Now you have the belt. Now I'm taking the belt from you as well. It's not going to happen, but that, from a kayfabe perspective, that's what makes sense. Jericho comes out, hits Goldberg over the head, or comes in and kicks Owens' ass, and then Owens wins the match by disqualification, keeps his belt, and says, now you've got the belt, and now I'm taking it from you at WrestleMania. That makes more sense. But they don't think that far ahead, or they don't think of it that way, and they're going to probably have Jericho come out, screw Owens, Goldberg goes in at WrestleMania with the belt to fight Brock Lesnar. Now, I've already said Brock and Goldberg don't need the belt. However, like I said, if Brock Goldberg is going to happen and Jericho Owens is going to happen, if both belts are in this match, then the U.S. belt is not defended. If one belt is on both match, you can have both belts defended, and it doesn't add a match. So they're going to want both belts defended if they can have both belts defended. Also, when you say Orton versus Wyatt, you don't see that as the closing match of the pay-per-view. If you say Owens versus Jericho, you still don't see that as the closing match of the pay-per-view. The closing match of the pay-per-view has to be Roman Reigns Undertaker or Goldberg Brock Lesnar. And if you close out the pay-per-view Goldberg Brock Lesnar as the Universal Champion, it makes more sense. Now, I'm not necessarily predicting that's how it's going to happen, because we like to leave WrestleMania with an up note and not a down note. They like to let people... It's not that it's never happened, but generally speaking, they try to leave WrestleMania on a high for the fans. And Undertaker beating Roman Reigns at WrestleMania is a bigger high than Brock Lesnar capturing the Universal belt from Goldberg, who's very much over at this point. So I don't think any of those 3 matches are going to be the final. I'm predicting that it's going to be Undertaker Roman Reigns, which is going to make some people cringe. But that being said, if they want to shuffle it and see what works out the best, they have to have the belt on Goldberg. Everything says Goldberg wins this title. I did a lot of talking around that match, trying to go in different ways so that maybe someone who was on the border could go opposite of me, give you reasoning as to, wow, I didn't think about that. That makes sense. That more feeds my argument for Owens keeping the title. But when it's all said and done, as far as my prediction show, when I'm putting my $10 down, I'm putting it on Goldberg leaving as the champion. So that's the whole list there. I will be doing a WWE Wrestlemania predictions the day before WrestleMania, but I will also be doing somewhere in the next week or two my prediction for matches. I'm going to start planning out a prediction show as far as this is what I think the WrestleMania card will be, and then maybe see how it changes as we go. I already have, like I said, 16 to 18 matches planned out, which obviously can't all happen. Some of it is my own personal planning, and they won't go that route. But check back. If you like this video, go ahead and click like. If you want to see those other prediction videos, press subscribe. We also do a lot of box openings on the channel, which you can find on this YouTube channel or on my Twitch video logs. Join me live on Twitch, www.twitch.tv/SpectrumDominus. That's down in the comments below. And I hope you guys enjoy Fastlane. I know I will, and I will see you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.